graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
I think that girl Tina's weird. What do you think? She got a booty so nice you pinched that twice and little toes like candy. Yeah.
B. I heard the gingerbread boy, cause he's pretend red boy. Little cookie man never waved to me, so he got knocked out because I flow. The jiggy jar jar dude, then I just flow, shoe shine. No one wanted your sticky tiara, cause no one wanted your sticky chair. And when you always talk about the cool kids who take archery, yeah, you're a shrinky dink. You get a funeral if you don't wise up and call me Carl Papa. The jiggy jar jar dude.
Got voices in my head. Just can't get them out sometimes.
This is me, the explosion. You're listening to Two Strangers on Podcast. Bunch of douchebags.
Hello, it's the Santa Claus. You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. You know who else likes Two Strangers One Podcast? My mom!
A bunch of a-holes.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Unfortunately, three-breasted women don't exist.
If you really thought that was true, then go kill yourself.
It was a really bad, not bad. When I saw the pictures of it, it's like, it just doesn't look right. I mean, I know nowadays they can do fantastic things with plastic surgery. I mean, I know like they rebuild people's faces and just the pictures. I wanted to believe it. I really wanted a three-breasted woman to exist, but it just doesn't work.
It's just not true.
Yeah, the woman's name is Jasmine TriDevil, not her real name, obviously. And she had said that she wanted to make herself unattractive to men, which I think, why would you give yourself three breasts? You know, breasts are some of the funnest parts of a woman. Why would you, that's like saying like, oh, I don't want to make myself attractive to men, so like I installed a TV in the middle of my tits that only shows Sports Center, or, or I only, I have a NRA membership or a juicy steak between my tits. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything a man likes.
That you dream of are those things you dream of?
Yeah, steak, guns, tits. I mean, it's just, and she goes that she's wanted to make herself unattractive to men. Well, if anybody who's seen the videos, I mean, I've seen a couple of interviews with her, and this chick has absolutely no personality. She sounds like, she sounds like one of those whiny, overprivileged like people. Obviously, for you to like go out there and get yourself a prosthetic tit or whatever the case may be, I mean, she has way too much fucking time. I mean, it had to cost a couple of bucks. I mean, it didn't look totally fake.
Well, you gotta understand too, dude. Like this was some good publicity because a lot of people believed it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, obviously she wants to be a reality star, and but it's like, but she has no personality. That's like the biggest. That's like, as soon as she talks, it's like very like whining, la la la. When I got the breath, and I'm like, oh, you want to turn off men? Just start talking. And she has a lazy eye, so I don't think that really helps.
You and your lazy eyes.
Yeah, she's got. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I have a lazy eye. Well, my eye's not lazy. It's called ocular dysplasia, where the muscles in my eyes aren't really like in sync with each other. I was born like that. When I was up to like the age of like 10 or 11, I used to wear corrective lenses. Mm-hmm. Now I have to wear reading glasses just so I can fucking see anyway. But like the corrective lenses I wore when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, like even from like when I was just a couple of months old, I went through surgery as a kid. Now imagine like a freaking, like a 1-year-old or less than a 1-year-old going in and out of surgery on their freaking eyes. And, and I went in for a couple of operations when I was real young, and to correct, my vision, I used to have to wear an eye patch to kind of like, for my eyes used to heal. So I guess to me, it was always kind of like a normal thing. Like I wore eye patches when I was a kid. Like when you see like real young baby pictures of me, I have like one badly crossed eye. Like, I think it was my right one was like all the way inwards, and it's kind of sad when you see like a cross-eyed baby. Like I can only imagine being my parents like, look at your cross-eyed baby. So then And I had all types of corrective surgeries and all this other stuff. But when I'm really not paying attention, one of my eyes will just kind of go.
That's not good.
Wander away. Okay, so it's September, or at least, September is damn near over, but we're finally gotten into the new television season. Or I don't know, should we? No, let's save that for the second part of the show. The second part of the show will be the nerdy news. So I was going to get into all of that, but I guess not. Okay.
Wait a minute. Is this about the car?
Oh! My car was broken. My
Yeah.
car was broken into.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know what? I didn't even have that in the notes, and I'm glad you brought that up. So some piece of shit, scumbag, lowlife, cocksucking motherfucker
No. Please tell us how you did.
broke into my car, and basically, like the complex where I was living at, or where I guess I'm still living at. For a couple of nights there was no. The parking lot had no lights. I mean, and it's pitch black. I mean, when I got out of my car, like I usually get home from work. The sun's already down, and I have to pull like my cell phone out and pull out, use my flashlight app, to get out, to get from my car to my front door. And so I'm pretty sure somebody took advantage of it. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, don't think it's related to the tire slashing I went through a couple weeks ago, because that was obviously a revenge job. Pretty sure my baby mama was behind that. But I don't want to, was it liable? Was it when you accuse somebody of something? Liable. I think when it's written, it's slander. When it's said, it's libel.
Yes.
Oh no, when it's said, it's slander. When it's written, it's libel. That's what it is. S is slander, said.
Right.
So I don't want to slander anyone, but I'm 99% sure it's my baby mama who slashed my tires, or her, or someone on her behalf. And I think my car being broken into was a totally unrelated. I mean, who knows? Do you think maybe I'm deluding myself? Maybe I'm like, no, she couldn't possibly slash my tires and stole my car stereo. Well, the only reason is because my car was ransacked, and like my car stereo was like the only nice thing in my car. So I think it would, and not even nice. I mean, it was like a $70 Walmart radio that I bought. I think the only cool thing that it did was because my car stereo at that time, now I have a big gaping hole in the middle of my dashboard. It had a USB port. Right. I used to put music on a thumb drive and then put the thumb drive in the, so it wasn't like a fancy radio. It just had that was the only like cool thing I liked about it, and it played MP3s off a disc if you wanted to. So you could put like 150 some odd songs on a CD and as files. And, some rat bastard scumbag piece of shit broke into my car, then they broke it on the side that like my daughter's car seat is on. So I had, and I had to fucking, make sure my daughter's car seat doesn't have fucking glass in it, and the crazy thing is that my car was broken into a couple of years ago. This is the same car. So the center panel of my dashboard was already broken, like someone already broke it years ago. So it was basically just sitting there by itself. Like I had placed it back where it's supposed to be, and it was never really moved or altered or anything like that. I just never got it 100% fixed. So
right.
They were probably expecting a harder job, and the fucking thing just came out like fucking butter. So, I'm not too fucking happy about that. And then you got to replace the glass, and, and you kind of have this uneasy feeling like, someone's going to break into the car. And I'm really at a point right now where like, I think I'm just going to not put a car stereo in there, or like, I'm going to get my hands on like a $10, factory fucking car stereo and put it in there, because, until I move, I have to move, because between the tire slashing and the car being broken into, it's stealing my fucking car stereo. And they went. That's the whole thing. That's why I don't think it was my baby mama, because it was like I said, my glove box was ripped open. This you have the little thing in the middle, the center divider thing in between the driver and the passenger, that was rifled through, and I don't got nothing in there. What I have in there, I have fucking old receipts that I never threw out. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't think the person really cares about fucking McDonald's receipts. And so thank you for opening up a fresh wound there, Paul.
Well, I thought you would want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I honestly, in a weird way, I don't think it has to do with the tire slashing. I think it was someone took advantage of the fact that the lights are out in the parking lot.
Yeah, we need to get you out of the hood. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, we got fucking Al Qaeda or ISIS or whatever recruiting in my neighborhood.
Well, I don't know how much you pay at your apartment, but there's some. I know like Briar Manor's pretty cheap.
I don't know. I'm looking to, and plus, as I work to get custody of my daughter, I'm gonna have to look into getting at the very least a 1-bedroom, but preferably a 2-bedroom. I understand. I mean, even though I love my daughter and everything like that, I mean, there's always that kind of like social taboo, like a man and a girl living in the same room or whatever. Even though
just put a small bed in your room, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what I'm going to do is probably, like, for the time being, because it's probably going to be a partial part custody kind of a deal. So, on the nights that she's with me, she could sleep in the bed and I'll sleep on the fucking couch. You know what I'm saying? There's no shame in my game. I'll sleep on the fucking floor, so, but I am looking into, I've played around. I've gone on Craigslist and shit like that looking for apartments. When's
your lease up?
My lease, actually, like, the funny thing is, even in my lease, it's like, my lease is technically up in December, but even there, like, if you give us like a 30-day warning, it's like a lease, but it's not really a lease. Like, I can move out as long as I give them 30-day warning.
Right.
So
that's not bad.
I gotta get the fuck out of here. So speaking of my daughter, I spent some time with her today because we're now at that wonderful time of the year where like all the holidays are smashed together. So we had went to Halloween Adventure, those little stores that always seem to pop up, and it's always in the same little spots. Like during the rest of the year, they're not, they're usually like either like a Party City, or they're they always buy these little cheap spots in the strip malls and they turn it into a Halloween store. So this year is actually, I mean, maybe because we went early before it gets picked bare, before the freaking crowds come and pick it apart. But they had some cool stuff, like, I mean, real creepy shit, like fucking, like zombies and shit that pop out at you. Like they're like these things pop out, like there's like a fucking like a piston in there or something like that. Like they shoot out at you, stuff like that. It's really fucking creepy. But I love how like my daughter at 4 years old, when stuff like this she should be pissing her fucking pants. She was cracking up. Like, you have to step on this little switch to activate it. And she's like, we literally spent like an hour in the Halloween store just, walking around looking at the stuff. And it was cute. I don't know. I still have no idea what I'm going to be this Halloween. I was thinking about being Bane now that I'm shaving my head because I tried on the Bane thing.
Of course.
Yes, hello. Welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris. No, I'm Bane. Today we're going to talk about that nuisance, the bat. But
and I'm getting out of here because you've lost your mind.
I'm going to be Bane with 3 tits.
Oh, God.
That's probably going to be a Halloween costume this year. The 3-tit one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think
Dude, if I were here, I would copyright that shit as soon as possible.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. Get like
how much fucking money you would get that? Dude, it's like, that would be money right there.
Get out to the stores now. We have to find some unsafe foam factory in Taiwan. I need 50 million units of 3 tits sent out now. So that's we spent a lot of time in the Halloween Adventure store, so that was kind of that was fun. On a little darker note, a little sadder note, and it's not even sad. I had gotten some bad information. Now see, my godmother, the woman that was part of, very much, even though she wasn't a blood family member, I mean, being raised by her, she was very involved in my family's life. Long story short, she was my older brother's babysitter, and then by the time I was born, the family had become so tight with my family that my mother asked these people to be my godparents, and so she had a grandson who was a year younger than me, so technically my god nephew. And so him and I were kind of like not raised together. I mean, we went to school together and we spent a lot of time in the summer together on weekends and stuff like that. Once again, not a blood family member, but someone that was very close to me. And he had posted on Facebook, that his grandmother passed away. So automatically I thought he was talking about my godmother. So my fucking like heart fell out. I was like, oh my God, my godmother passed away and I haven't had a chance to speak to her. And, and I have, and my biggest regret is, I don't have custody of my daughter and I don't want to, because I would, if I could wave a fucking magic wand, I would like to take my daughter to Puerto Rico and, visit family members. Well, it turns out he was talking about his other grandmother. Take it for granted that people have, 2 grandmothers or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel bad for his loss, but I was kind of like relieved, like, oh, okay, my godmother isn't dead. But I had called her, like, I've been calling her out in Puerto Rico and she's not picking up the phone. I mean, somehow my mother got it because I one of the first things I did was call my mom, and, my mom's reached out to her or whatever, and apparently, thank goodness, she's still alive. And actually, my friend had reached back out to me, he's like, oh, no, not my grandmother that's your godmother, my other grandmother. Like, oh, and like I said, and it's one of those deals where, like, you still feel bad for his loss, but it's like, thank goodness,
it's like, no, I don't, I'm not really caring that much.
Thank goodness there's no one I care about. Fuck up.
Fucking piece of shit.
So, but I've been trying to reach her. I mean, she's out in Puerto Rico, and I call. But then again, my mom says that she's like older, and because she's like in her 70s now. So I try to reach out to her, and I let the phone ring like 5 or 6 times. Like I don't. My thing is like after like the 5th or 6th ring, I just hang up the phone. But my mom is like, oh no, she has to get across the house to pick up the phone. But I called back again, and I got some weird, funky, busy signal sound. So I'm gonna keep trying to reach out to her. But that was kind of like a, it's one of those deals where like like Family Guy last year, like you don't know what you got till it's gone. Tell the people that are in your life, tell them you love them. So I was kind of like, I gotta tell her I love her. But that's neither here or there. I gotta reach out to her. But she's not picking up her phone.
Pick up your damn phone.
Pick up your phone, Doña Carmen. Which is, doing like in Spanish, like in Italian, Don Vito. To say like, it's like Don is like a sign of respect, like sir. Well, in the female version is Doña, and her name is Carmen. So I always grew up calling her Doña Carmen, which, when I was a kid, I thought Doña Carmen was just her whole name.
Right.
Doña Carmen, you come to me on my daughter's birthday, you come to me on my daughter's wedding day, asking me for a favor. So.
Going a little too far with this.
Hey, your first child, be a masculine child. No. So what's going on with you, brother?
Nothing too extravagant, Trying to, I'm getting excited for you to go to New York Comic Con, obviously.
Oh yeah, and I guess I don't want to spoil it because I don't want to jinx it, but like we may have lined up a pretty killer fucking interview. And I've been doing my research and stuff like that, so I'm like super excited about that. And speaking of Comic Cons, okay, so definitely, for Two Strangers One Podcast, for the Tsunami Faithful podcast, and for your website Geeky Inc. We're going to be varying it up between who we talk to and under what flag is it flown, but I'm pretty excited about that particular interview, and who knows who else I can grab while I'm there. I mean, we were going over a little before the episode about having a press pass, and of course there's all these crazy rules like you can't give your press pass to your friends, and you can't sell it, and you can't do this and you can't do that, but but I plan on playing by the rules, and but it's gonna be fun. I mean, I know it's gonna be exhausting. I know I'm gonna be fucking worn out at the end of those days, but it's gonna be like a good exhausted. It blows my mind because New York Comic Con this year is gonna be like every day. It starts at 10 and it ends at 7.
Right.
Okay, so here we go. It's New York Comic Con. I'm looking at the notes right now. Thursday 12 to 7, but Thursday says press and professionals only. Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday 10 a.m. to 5. Of course, Sunday is like the worst day. Like I'm probably gonna skip Sunday just for the fact that like I'm pretty sure no one's gonna be there on Sunday. Like nobody cares. Everyone's going back to their regular bullshit jobs or whatever on Sunday. Getting ready for Monday. Friday and Saturday are gonna be the big days. I'm just surprised that it closes at 7. Like I've been to the Jacob Javits Center for like auto shows and motorcycle shows, and I clearly remember leaving there like after the sun has went down. They always have really good conventions there, and it's a relatively big place. I mean, I know we're gonna. I've been there. I think I even went there once for like a tattoo convention, and it's a big place, and I'm probably gonna be very busy all those hours. But I just I don't want to wait in line, even though I know I'm gonna have to get ready for that. So it's gonna be me and Matt. You said from
yes.
Okay.
You and Matt will be going and partaking in this wonderful thing that we call Comic Con,
representing Two Strangers One Podcast, Geeky Inc., Tsunami Faithful. So like I said, I've lined up one fucking killer interview, and who knows what else, what other ones we're going to do. And once again, and this isn't really like nerdy news, but also
my goddamn credentials, you motherfucker.
But speaking of comic book conventions, because this really doesn't fall under the geeky news, but our next episode, or hopefully if things work out correctly, I had reached out to Jody Schaefer and his husband Bells Jordan, and who I believe his real name is Brandon, but I guess his stage name or whatever you want to call it is Bells Jordan. What was that? Billy Bob Joe Jean. No, well he's doing a convention called Bent Con. We spoke about it briefly in the last episode, and hopefully our next episode is going to be the interview episode. They're doing a Kickstarter right now, and it is basically a Comic-Con featuring, alternative lifestyle, gay, lesbian, LBGT, that aspect of Comic-Con, which, it's all nerdy, it's all good. So our next episode will probably be interviewing Bells Jordan, because he's one of the top 5 people that are like getting this whole thing organized, and they do have a Kickstarter out right now. So you could go on Kickstarter. You could just Google BentCon, BENT, BentCon 2014 Kickstarter, however you find it. But I'm pretty sure you're going to see all the links. And it's funny because like when people do cosplay and stuff like that, they call it gender bent. Like they'll take like a character, like I don't know, like Captain America, but like what if Captain America was a woman, or what if Iron Man was a woman, or whatever. Not being Pepper Potts and not being
right.
And so they call that kind of cosplay gender bent. Well, if I went to one of these Comic-Cons, I would call myself Bender Gent. I would be Bender from Futurama, but I would be with a top hat and a monocle and maybe like a Mr. Monopoly mustache.
Okay.
So I'd be Bender Gent. As a play on words for.
If you could see me right now, I'm just shaking my head. I'm just shaking my head right now, going, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
That's what happens when you recorded 2 a.m.
What's wrong with you?
I saw this really cool video online the other day of a woman in Brazil, quote unquote, fishing for piranhas. So basically, this video, it's it's Brazil. Brazilian women are fine, for lack of a better term. And it's sad because you don't even see the girl's face in the video, but she has a nice little body on her, and she's literally on like this plank of wood over this body of water, and in front of her she has this big metal bucket, like big metal tub or whatever, and she's holding like obviously what are like the guts of an animal, and she's dipping the guts in the water, and all these piranhas are going crazy. Feeding frenzy, biting at the guts, and then she picks up the guts, brings it back over the metal tub, and the piranhas are falling in the tub. Like she's shaking them till they come off. And I guess there's no water in the tub because I'm pretty sure being out of water for a little while kind of chills them out, when they're dying.
Yeah.
So, and a friend of mine asked me, one of my friends commented, he's like, do they eat them? So of course I went on Google and I said, can you eat piranhas? So I guess apparently there is, like, you can eat a piranha. I mean, it's no different than, people like catfish, and catfish are like worse than piranha because at least piranhas eat meat. Catfish eat like anything on the bottom of the fucking ocean floor or whatever. So, but the one thing that the guy kept talking about is how like piranha meat smells really bad, and it was fried.
Ugh.
But the picture that I posted back in response was someone they had fried the piranha and they had chopped it up into bits, but like they kept it like in the sections, like they kept it looking like it did when it was still alive.
Right.
So like you see this fucking thing with ugly teeth that looks like it's 2 seconds away from reanimating and biting you. I don't know. I'd give it a shot, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd eat the whole thing. I would probably just take a taste. But you can technically
put it in your mouth. I said, put it in your mouth.
Put it in your mouth. Who doesn't want to eat something that could eat them? Fuck you, tiger. So. But there was, you can eat piranha, but then again, another thing I said is like, maybe it's possible that, maybe they're going to sell them. Cause I know there's a market for people buying piranhas, somebody, who's seen Scarface one too many times or whatever, they want to have a tank. And I actually had a friend of mine who had piranhas, and he lived in, he's from New York City, and it's really creepy when you see piranhas, like when they're in a tank, because when they're like ready to eat or whatever, they kind of like line up, and if you think I'm lying, you could like look this up on YouTube. Like they kind of like they side by side, they'll line up or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, when they go into a feeding frenzy, like they bite each other and stuff like that. But it is really creepy to look into a fish tank and see fish like ready to eat. And when I say ready to eat, I mean like it's almost like they're lining up. It's really creepy.
Right.
So unless you got anything else, I think we're gonna go to break, and we'll be back with more, since we have a hell of a lot more nerdy news than real life shit.
Yeah, let's get to the commercial.
And we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
Hopefully.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Now let's hit some nerdy news. Nerdy news.
Nerdy news. This is
This is their nerdy news.
what I tell you about having my dick in your mouth while we're doing it.
Sorry. Well, the fact that I can still talk is kind of sad.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell anybody that.
All these great new shows are back on TV. I mean, the two shows that I was excited for: Sons of Anarchy. It's already like episode 3 by the time this episode comes out. I watched the first 2. I guess they had them in the same night. Big Bang Theory is back.
Right.
So, and of course me, like, I don't even, like, I have cable, but, I don't have the FX channel. I mean, I don't even have cable. I have cable modem, but long story short, I basically, I watch my shows online.
Long story short, he fucked it up. Sorry, guys. I don't know.
But, Gotham, one of the new shows this season, or, I finally got a chance, I guess the whole world got a chance to watch it the other night.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, was I fucking impressed. Seriously. I know I'm like, obviously I'm a Batman, I love Batman and
Connoisseur.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a big Batman geek, but I was really I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting it to be like corny, and I was expecting it to be like, I don't know. I mean, I know it's on, whatever CW, and, I was expecting a little bit more of like a Smallville feel to it. Like I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, like not corny, but just like not as intense. I mean, this was like, it was very dark, and, obviously, the fucking show pretty much begins with like the murder of, Thomas and Martha Wayne, and, just fucking murdered in cold blood. I mean, I guess that's part of the long arcing of the show is going to be like them investigating the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. They took some liberties with the origin stories. Like there's this character Fish Mooney played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who, don't get me wrong, I love Jada Pinkett Smith. I think she is so fucking sexy. But that character doesn't exist in the comics. That was never even like and trust me, I researched this. Like that wasn't even like a character that like they mentioned once and they decided to like, let's make a bigger character. Like they just totally invented this for the show.
Right.
So so Fish Mooney, this character doesn't exist. They made her. They made Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, kind of like her henchman.
Yeah.
Which I guess I kind of, I see how they, and of course, she's called Fish. He's the Penguin. Of course, we're gonna have an episode where the fish, the Penguin eats the fish. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like that's like so fucking.
That would be funny.
Telegraphed that's gonna happen. They made Edward Nygma like a CSI kind of guy. Like he's like, the crime scene investigator. Behind the scenes, like they're looking up the bullet, and he's So they made Edward Nygma a cop, basically. I mean, if he's CIS, crime scene investigator, whatever, or CSI or whatever. And what's the other one? The Riddler. Yeah, the Riddler was a cop. The Penguin was a thug. And what's the other one? I know there was one more. I mean, I kind of like they had the young Catwoman, which it was like basically just a jailbait. It's kind of like this hot teenager. I don't know, is that creepy for me to say that?
Creepy teenager.
And what's the other one? Oh, Poison Ivy. That's the other one where they made Poison Ivy like the daughter of a bad guy, and her name is not even like in the show. Her name is like Ivy Pepper, which I guess I wonder. Maybe they'll find out later that that's not really her real name. Like that guy really wasn't her father. Like because from this comic books, Poison Ivy's real name is Pamela Isley, or a real name. Fucking talking about fictional characters. There was one character in the show that I think they're gonna make into the Joker, because there's a scene where they're in Fish Mooney's club, and he's a comedian, and he's like a bad comedian, and kind of one of the Joker origin stories was that he was kind of like this bad comedian. But I did love that they had Harvey Bullock, Donald Logue, who's been like in a whole bunch of things. He was in the Blade movies. Well, he was in Blade. He was in Ghost Rider. What other? He was recently in Sons of Anarchy. They have him playing Harvey Bullock. Great casting, because Harvey Bullock's supposed to be like this dirty cop. And then like for those of us who watched a Batman the Animated Series, Montoya was in the show. But I don't know if you know this, but Montoya in the DC Comics, she's a lesbian. So they have scenes where she's talking to Jim Gordon's wife, and they're always like, "Oh, well, we know each other from the past." So I think they're trying to say that at one point, Montoya and Jim Gordon's wife, I guess, when they were younger, were girlfriends at one point, because they were like, you don't know her the way I know her, which means, maybe they were lovers at one point. But yeah, like I said, I'm really digging it. I mean, I like how they kind of make it like it reminds me of Batman the Animated Series, where it's kind of like noir. It's very dark. It's very, it's not like, oh, let's put it in New York City, even though all of it was pretty much filmed in New York City, because all those streets are like the very first scene, like where the Waynes get shot and you see like Catwoman as a teenager. That's down on East Broadway. Like that was like where I grew up. That's like 10-minute walk from where I grew up at. So it was so weird to see those streets. I mean, of course they added things in the background. Like you see like Wayne Tower and all this other crap in the background. But I kind of like how they took something relatively modern, but then they put they added stuff to the background to make New York City into Gotham. But I'm digging it. I'm so digging it. So what do you think of it, Paul?
Well, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw most of it. I found it interesting that both of these guys are working for the mob, I guess. And like it's just interesting to see that it takes a different view where you're just like, wait a minute, like this should have been a little bit, like they shouldn't be helping these guys. But there again, it seems like they're doing it to make sure that they don't get killed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think like with Harvey Bullock, I think it's one of those deals where like he wants to be a good cop, but if you are a good cop, you're going to get killed. Like there's no such thing as a good cop, because a good cop is going to get fucking slaughtered by the mafia. So I think he's kind of like, I think they're painting his character as kind of like a little sympathetic, like he's going with the flow. Of course it doesn't hurt that you get to fucking punch a perpetrator and get a couple extra licks and stuff like that. As I'm pretty sure most cops would love to fucking have the freedom to just punch a bad guy, but he's kind of like, he's going with the flow. He doesn't want to be dirty. He has his own demons, but it's like, hey, fuck it. It's either this, because if I try to be clean, fucking Falcone is gonna fucking wipe me out.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna get to Batman in a second. I just also wanted to say I saw the premiere episode of The Flash, which everyone was talking about how great it was. I was kind of I wanted to like it. I couldn't get into it.
I didn't get to see that. I would love to see it, because I'd like to see how this show is, because back in the day, yeah, I'm that fucking old. I saw the Flash series. I think it was actually on ABC, if I remember correctly, and it was a pretty good series. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one is, because they haven't done this in years. So
yeah, everyone's talking about how good it is, and I was like, and not that it was bad. It just like I was expecting it, like Gotham. I was like, when I saw Gotham, I was like, wow, this is really good. And then I said, okay, let me watch the Flash. And then I saw the Flash, and I was like, okay, I guess maybe because I've never watched an episode of Arrow. Maybe because I mean they do have, and this is not really a spoiler. I mean, Arrow, the character Arrow, is in the first episode of Flash. Like it turns out they're friends and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll get better. The new season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just started. The first episode, once again, it was good. Not groundbreaking, not ground shaking, but I'm assuming that the season's gonna get better. But while we still have Batman fresh in our mind, you have some bad news.
Oh yes. So, well, I guess it's not really bad news, because I talked about this on the Toonami Faithful podcast. So if you want to hear me destroy Cartoon Network, I suggest you tune in this week. But so basically what happened was, and this happened Monday, Cartoon Network decided that they were going to write off Batman, Beware the Batman, and
Symbiotic Titan.
Now, Symbiotic Titan we're not going to talk about. I talked about that on the Toonami Faithful podcast. If you want to hear about that, trust me, I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, because you were behind the whole campaign. I'm trying to
trying to bring it back, because I would love to see another season of it. But here's the problem. Like Batman, I guess. See, the problem is Batman actually. I guess it's not a problem. It's more or less like it's good for Batman. It's just it's bad for Symbiotic Titan. Is the fact that Batman it's out on DVD and Blu-ray, and the second part's coming in October. So it's not going away. And I believe it actually, I thought it was on Netflix, but apparently it's not. So, or it might be on Netflix coming up, and whatever.
Yeah,
so
I know like a lot of DC animated movies eventually end up on Netflix. So
and
that
it
showing
seems
up on
like
Netflix is probably going to eventually happen.
right, and it seems like Warner Brothers owns this, so it'll probably end up showing up there. So I'm not, as much as I don't like the fact that it got written off, I also don't have anything, like, I'm not too pissed off about that show. Sympathy, on the other hand, well, like I said, I talked about that on Tsunami Faithful podcast. You can hear it there. I'm just, what I will say about Batman is this. I understand that, Cartoon Network wants to write things off, and that's fine if it's saving people's jobs. I get it. I understand. Fine. Whatever. But here's where my problem comes in. Why are you doing this in the middle of the run of a show that actually has new episodes? You know what I mean? Like, you're taking a show that has new episodes that have never aired on broadcast TV, and you've taken them away. So now, Toonami's got to react. They're doing a marathon this Saturday from 2:30 to 6 a.m. when Toonami goes off, just to play all the rest of the new episodes. And it's ridiculous. It shouldn't have come to that, and they should have been allowed to play these episodes out and be fine with it. But no. We're just going to be assholes and, take this show away from you because, we're Cartoon Network and we can do that. Do me a favor. Go blow me, please. Like, I'm just sick and tired of Cartoon Network these days. Dude. Like, you don't even understand. Like, they have literally taken all the action cartoons and just crushed them. Yeah. We really thought at ToonamiFaithful.com, we really fucking thought, especially Symbiotic Titan, was going to be a show that they could just pull from whenever. And now all of a sudden it's like, nope, can't pull from that, sorry. Really? Like, it's actually being used. It wouldn't have been used if it was on Cartoon Network still, so what's the issue if it's on Adult Swim, And I think the best thing that I said yesterday was, it's not Jason who's the one in control of Toonami. It's probably his boss, Mike Laszlo, that's probably banging on Cartoon Network store going, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, we know once Cartoon Network writes off a show, it's gone, it's dead.
Yeah, Mega 6LR, I'll tell you right there. But I'm just, this is the exact point, and this is the best podcast to do this on. This is the exact reason why I talk about American cartoons when they are on the air. If you like them, you need to watch, you need to tweet about them, and you need to make sure that the distributors and the people, the channel that it's on, understand that said show is important. Because if you don't, this shit happens, and a show that potentially could have had a couple more seasons to it basically got fucked. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm glad for Beware the Batman that it's out on DVD and Blu-ray and it's going to get still seen by people, but that doesn't save Symbiotic Titan, and it's a tragedy. But I think I've talked enough about this. Yeah. I don't want to take the whole podcast. There is one thing I do want to talk about, if you allow me to have the floor, sir, real quick. Apparently, there's this woman suing Disney because she claims that Frozen is based on her life story. Oh, yeah. Her name is Isabella, and apparently she wrote an autobiography called Yearnings of the Heart. According to, and I don't remember which site I saw it on, but according to that site, they actually compared the two versions, and there's a lot of apparent similarities to, like, Frozen took a lot of things from this autobiography, so to speak. And, because I was reading this to Chris earlier, too. And what I find the most interesting is, obviously this is for publicity, but could this also be the truth? Could Disney have really ripped off this smaller site, or smaller book, I should say, and just run with it? Well, it is Disney. If they saw something they liked, they probably would have done that. But at the same time, like I was saying to you, Chris, I think they're going to pay her off.
Yeah, they'll probably give her some hush money. I mean, it's not like Disney's fucking hurting for cash, so they'll probably just give her some money to shut up and go away. Here's free passes to Disney World for the rest of your lives. And
we'll see what happens. For all we know, this lawsuit will just get thrown out. But if it turns into something, don't be surprised if Disney settles and just gives money. Yeah, I don't think they would do $250 million, but I'm sure they would do a couple million.
Because it was a self-published book, right?
Right. So
like my self-published book, Double Jackpot. if Disney wants to steal from me, please, we can settle it. If we want to settle this out of court, feel free to steal my book.
now they're going to do it, and now you can't get caught for it. So.
You're right. Don't steal from me.
But yeah, so
pay your dues, goddamn.
There is that. Let's see, what else do we have? Deadpool.
Deadpool, yeah, our last episode it was literally like 24 hours later after we recorded the last episode where we were talking about the rumors of Deadpool coming back as a movie.
And then it actually became reality. From what we know, I think it's February 16th, 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, that they're going to start filming.
That it's going to come out. It's distributed by Fox, so apparently Fox owns the rights to Deadpool. So basically, people are wondering. There's a couple of things that they're wondering. They're wondering if. Well, first thing that there's a rumor of is they don't really know if Ryan Reynolds is going to be the guy that's Deadpool. Well, my thing is he did that test footage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see why they wouldn't put him in that role.
Yeah, and Wolverine Origins. I mean,
right, and I think he will end up there. It's just going to be a matter of, just working out a deal. I think that's the way it is. But, we never know with these things.
Yeah, because we know Green Lantern's dead in the water. I mean, Green Lantern ain't coming back, so he might as well cut his ties with DC and go with Marvel.
He'll probably come back, but I'm trying to think what else here. It's so late in the morning.
I guess another rumor was that there was going to be like a teaser at the end of X-Men Apocalypse.
Right, and apparently that might still happen, but that part hasn't really been.
Yeah, that's purely speculation and stuff like that. But it would be a smart move on there, seeing that all these Marvel movies kind of have like little things at the end of the credits that always kind of allude to other movies. I mean, not that we're ever going to see a fucking Howard the Duck movie or anything like that. But
actually, speaking of that. Apparently, they're recasting for X-Men Apocalypse. They're recasting Storm, Jean Grey, and Cyclops. Apparently,
wow.
And I don't know why. And I'm guessing it's the adult versions, but it just doesn't make sense that you would do that when the characters were in this past one that just came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've been established through like what 4, 5, 6 movies or whatever. I mean, between like the original X-Men trilogy.
It's pretty stupid to do that.
Days of Future Past.
Right. Now, if it's for the previous versions of them, that's fine. But just do the previous versions. Don't do like adult Jean Grey.
And with X-Men Apocalypse, I guess another part of the news that we didn't talk about before the episode, but what's his face? The director, Bryan Singer, is attached to X-Men Apocalypse.
Yes, he is.
They found that lawsuit totally frivolous and bullshit, and it was a sensational story about him,
child molester,
child molesting and forcing some like underage kid or some teenager boy to have sex with him or some shit like that. That was all thrown out. It was obviously just a bullshit, bogus, opportunistic lawyer trying to take advantage of the movie of Days of Future Past coming out, trying to put Bryan Singer under some sort of pressure. That was all fucking debunked and thrown out. And I'm glad because I like Bryan Singer, and of course, I don't want to know that guy I like is doing all this fucked up shit. But I mean, I'm kind of glad he's been vindicated.
That's another piece of news too. Speaking along those lines, Star Trek, the third one may actually have Shatner in it.
Oh, yeah, Shatner and Leonard Nimoy.
Yes.
Because Robert Orci, one of the writers of the movie, who, and Robert Orci, who's been behind so many projects that I liked, but he's destroyed. And he wrote the first 2 Transformer movies. He wrote the first 2 Star Trek movies. Well, not the first 2, of the reboot. He's behind shows like Fringe. I believe he's written for Lost. I love Fringe. I love Lost, but I hate what he did to Transformers. I kind of see what he did with Star Trek, and he kind of made it sexy and grown up and stuff like that. But Robert Orci, I'm not a big fan of. And he's since J.J. Abrams is a little busy directing fucking Star Wars. Robert Orci's taken over the Star Trek movie, and I think this is kind of a stunt. Not a stunt, but I'm just saying that I know like people like myself are kind of be like, I don't really care about Star Trek 3.
Yeah, but what doesn't really make sense though is that apparently J.J. Abrams is only going to do one of the Star Wars movies, so I don't understand why he can't just go back and do number 3. But
But I think he's going to be, even though he's not going to be directing the other two Star Wars movies, I'm pretty sure he's going to have heavy, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Influence?
Advisor. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be, technical advisor or whatever the hell they want to call it, because he's molding the universe, And there's rumors now, there was also a rumor about that one of the movies is going to be like a movie focusing on the Millennium Falcon, which is something I said not as a joke, but I had kind of mentioned that a while back, that they should do a Millennium Falcon movie, because, they were talking about, was it going to be a Yoda movie? Was it going to be a Boba Fett movie? Was it going to be a Chewbacca movie? All the.
Well, isn't there is a Boba Fett movie coming?
Yeah, that one is pretty much confirmed. But now they're saying that one of the offshoot movies is going to be about the Millennium Falcon, which I had said, not as a joke. I mean, it's something I was serious about when I said it. But I'm kind of like, if that turns out to be a reality, it's going to be fucking awesome, in my opinion. Because, I mean, the original and the prequel trilogy, we had no Millennium Falcon. They didn't even have it, show up. Even if it was briefly in the background for 2 seconds, I mean.
Right.
But I think, they're taking advantage of the fact that, because they built a life-size Millennium Falcon. So I guess
they
built it
knowing
they
built one. They built one, and then apparently a miniature-sized version of the Batmobile is on it.
Oh, yeah. They had and one of, the crazy, funky technical panels or whatever, one of the artists that are building it, it looks like the Batmobile from the Christopher Nolan movies. It's just like a shout-out. It was just sort of a, inside joke, oh, we know it's there.
Well, apparently the Batman-Superman movie, they took it back where all of a sudden these stormtroopers stole some of the police vehicles or something. That's kind of funny.
And I think it's because remember they had around Comic-Con they had Zack Snyder, he tweeted a picture of Henry Cavill, the actor playing Superman, but they put him in Star Wars Jedi robes and stuff like that. I mean, it was just it's fun back and forth or whatever. So I think part of them paying it back is putting Batman in the Millennium Falcon, which I think is fucking awesome. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, speaking of all, we still have Batman still on the head on the mind. Well, someday soon you'll see my review for Batman Assault on Arkham.
Yes, that's coming. We're working on a new template for Geeky at the moment, so once that gets figured out, we will be doing that along with a couple other geeky reviews. It's just, when you're trying to get a new template, it's easier said than done to get them done, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and if you want to have a good template, you have to do it the right way. So I apologize about that, but that will be out sooner or later. Hopefully sooner.
Tonight, or the night we're recording, this is I don't know if I want to say the official launch, but there's a video game out now called DC Infinite Crisis, which I was part of the beta testing. Which, I mean, not that it was anything exclusive. There were literally thousands of people that were part of the beta testing. But if you like DC Universe stuff, and it's called Infinite Crisis because what it is it takes characters from the universe like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and it kind of you have those original characters, but then there's different versions of Batman. There's steampunk Batman, which is from people who are familiar with the comic books, is it's Gotham by Gaslight, where they take Batman and they put him in the 1800s, but he has all these funky Tesla coils on his bat suit. You know what I'm saying? He has all this technology. It's supposed to be if Batman existed 100 years ago. But
that's weird.
Relatively futuristic, but and there's atomic Wonder Woman, where it's Wonder Woman, what if she, what if it was Wonder Woman, after the apocalypse, where she's Amazon, but she looks like something out of Road Warrior. There's Atomic Green Lantern, which it's cool because it's Green Lantern, but once again post-apocalyptic, so he's missing an arm. So a big part of his suit is he rebuilds his arm using the power ring. So he has one normal arm, then he has
that's kind of awesome.
Super badass green arm that turns into cannons and shit like that. So if you I was big into DC Universe Online. I still play it. I played it today, as a matter of fact, for the past 3 years. But the new game Infinite Crisis is out right now. They updated now. It's tonight was the official launch, and I played the training missions today. I still got 3 more training missions to go through before I actually play. But I played the beta game where you go online, you play against people, and of course I was getting my ass handed to me from 12-year-olds in Missouri. But it was fun.
More 12-year-old Japanese players. So
I pwned you.
Oh, we kick your ass a long time.
So, the Family Guy Simpsons crossover episode
Coming up this Sunday.
coming up this Sunday, and I guess they also, with that still fresh in everyone's minds, they announced there's going to be a Simpsons Futurama crossover episode, which is something I think they should have done years ago. I mean, especially when Futurama got canceled, I think like you would think, I mean, this is from the same, Matt Groening or whatever. You would think like to help save it. I mean, yeah, it got reborn and it lived on Cartoon Network for a while, and the DVDs came out and everything like that. But it's weird that the Family Guy crossover happened before the Futurama crossover. But I don't mean, I'm not going to hate. I'm glad Futurama has some sort of life after its death. But
the second death, but I'm sure there's going to be a third and a fourth and a fifth. We'll see.
But there's controversy going on right now because in the crossover, there's a scene where it's Stewie and Bart, back from fucking.
And Brian's in there too.
Where Bart does the crank phone calls, and then Stewie goes along with Bart to do prank phone calls, and they call Moe's Tavern, and he's like, what do you say, like, I'm gonna rape your sister or some shit like that?
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna rape your sister, and then hangs up the phone.
So apparently, like, people are getting all bent out of shape about that, which I mean, The Simpsons recently, like the most recent season of The Simpsons, like there was like a whole episode about like Bart and Homer getting like this mafioso's horse to fuck another horse, like breed another champion and stuff like that, where like his horse was gay or some shit like that. Like, the recent episodes of The Simpsons have been getting a little raunchier, with the times. Like, they haven't totally, it's not like this squeaky clean, I mean, don't get me wrong, they haven't gotten to rape jokes yet, which is more of a Family Guy thing. But, I mean, I understand why people are getting upset, but they really shouldn't be surprised. Especially
I don't see that the way that he said it and the way that it was put in context. There's no reason for anybody to bitch, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me. That's what grinds my gears.
And especially that, like, because we were talking about this, I thought it was a Simpsons episode featuring Family Guy, but actually it's a Family Guy episode featuring The Simpsons.
Right.
Because you were talking about how it's going to be on, it's not
it's
a Family Guy episode.
The name of the episode's called The Simpsons Guy, so.
Yeah, so usually when Family Guy episodes are re-aired on Cartoon Network a week later after they're aired on Fox, since this has The Simpsons and there's probably all types of funky, legal.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little interesting to see if this one ever plays because, like I said to you earlier when we weren't on the podcast, the deal I believe that's set up right now for Family Guy is, it plays on Fox first, but then a week later it plays on Adult Swim, and that's because Adult Swim obviously helped to bring back Family Guy. So basically, what's happening here is, okay, is this episode actually going to play on Adult Swim? Because if it doesn't, then there must be like a special clause that says, said shows don't have to play on, during a con if you don't want to, blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, I think, I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of stupid, but it makes sense, if they don't play it. Right. It's kind of like, it's if it's a Family Guy episode, it should re-air on Cartoon Network as per the standing agreement.
Right, and it probably still will. It's just, you never know with these kinds of lawyers and shit.
Yeah, because I mean, I know The Simpsons, forget about it. You get, if you really tried, if you had, a TiVo DVR or whatever, and you try to record every episode of Simpsons, I mean, it's in syndication on so many channels.
Right.
That it's not like The Simpsons, is some precious property that they're trying to hold on to. I mean, The Simpsons is on every, you can find Simpsons, playing at 1:00 in the morning on some channels, or whatever. So I can't see it being, a big issue, but apparently they're making it an issue. And that's about it. I think the only other thing I kind of wanted to talk about real quick was I saw Kevin Smith's new movie Tusk.
Yes.
And I felt like I was cheating on you because I went to a different place to watch it. But
no, you went to a theater in my company. I'm okay.
Okay. But it was weird. I mean, of course, it's a movie about a guy turning another guy into a walrus. And, I'm such a big Kevin Smith fan. I mean, every episode I play the ad where Kevin Smith advertises my book. But it was awkward. It was a very awkward movie. I mean, it is funny, and I probably like it upon the second viewing. But when people left the theater, because I saw it the night it came out, because it was one of those deals where they had made a thing where if you see it the night it comes out and you tweet a picture of your movie stub, they'll put your name in special thanks on the DVD, which is brilliant because one, they get you to go see it the first night, and they get you to buy the DVD because you want to see your name. But everyone leaving the theater was kind of dumbfounded when when we left. Like, I mean, it was good, and I'm not going to spoil like parts of the ending and stuff like that. No, but it was such a weird movie, and like I wanted to like it, and I'll probably like it. It's probably those movies that probably grow on me now that if I see it a second time, now that I know what to expect on how fucking weird it is. But like upon the first viewing, like and like I said, it wasn't just me. It was like the people leaving the theater. We were like, what the fuck did I just see? What the fuck did I just watch? I mean, like I said, the movie obviously is going to be weird, but it was like uncomfortable weird. It was like a David Lynch movie. It was like it was weird for weirdness sake. And I mean, it was funny, but I don't know. It's like, and then Kevin Smith has 2 more movies lined up, with the same, like, this is supposed to be part of like a new trilogy called the True North trilogy, where he's doing this other movie now called Yoga Hosers, which is going to have Johnny Depp in it. And he has this other movie called then the movie after that's called Moose Jaws, where basically they're kind of like remaking Jaws, except of a shark attacking people in the water. It's a moose attacking people in the forest in Canada. And like right now they're literally calling the movie Moose Jaws, which is fucking weird, and like I said, I wanted to like it. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'll probably like it again. I'll probably like it a little more once I watch it again, but it was just fucking bad. So with that, everything else I have on my list is not really that important. So we'd like to tell our fans, I don't know how you got to this episode, but please check out our page, our website, our web zone at 2s1p.com. That's 2s1p.com, where you find links for everything. You find a link that'll bring us to our iTunes page if you haven't found us through there. Or you could go to the iStore and just go to the podcast tab and check out Two Strangers One Podcast. You see our beautiful red, white, and blue logo. You could download all the episodes of Two Strangers One Podcast back to day 1 over 2 years ago. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, and you have an Android device, you could download us on Stitcher, Stitcher, STITCHER. The cool thing about Stitcher is you could download the episodes while you're in your Wi-Fi spot and then listen to them later, so you don't have to use up the data on your phone. If I had a car stereo, I'd be listening to episodes on Stitcher, but I don't have a car stereo anymore. But like I said, you could download them in your Wi-Fi spot. You could find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. Of course, doing the show isn't free and it's not cheap, but if you want to show any kind of support for the show, just share a link to our Facebook page or to this particular episode on your Facebook page. It takes 2 seconds to do. You can find us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. That's at Stranger Podcast. You can interact with us there, or you can write us an email at twostrangersonepodcast, all spelled out, at gmail.com. That's twostrangersonepodcast, all spelled out, at gmail.com. I really can't think of anything else. We ask the floor to you, sir.
All right, well, you can follow me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. You can also tumble with me on Tumblr. It's paulpascrillo.tumblr.com. And you can also ask me questions about this podcast or Toonami or the Toonami Faithful podcast. Please do ask me questions. It is, again, ask.fm. Wow, I'm losing my mind. This is how tired I am. Ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo on the interwebs. So, and please do send me your questions. I do like answering nerdy questions. So,
and if you're going to be attending New York Comic Con, if you're one of our listeners on the East Coast, feel free to contact us. At twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We can see if we could hook up. You know what I'm saying? Come by, say hi.
Oh, Chris wants to hook up with you. Wants to hook up. He wants to whisper sweet nothings in your ear. He tries to do it to me all the time.
And if you like the Toonami Faithful podcast or Geeky Inc. or any of our other projects, feel free to hook up, to reach out to us, and maybe we can hang out during the Comic-Con. That's about it. We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording, even though it's about fucking 2:30 in the morning. Once again, what did I say? We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.
I need to go to sleep.
You should be fapping.
After I take a nap.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled COLON.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin, that's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.